how to avoid feeling overwhelmed, not just with the bundle, but with the lifestyle or diet changes in general. We're going to be talking about that topic and sharing some cool stuff about the bundle with Rachel. Rachel Detroit Coaching is going to be joining us, and she's in the chat already. Look at her, she's so on point. I'm going to invite her in. Contributed some of the most to this bundle. Her and I have contributed probably the most to this bundle, as in terms of things. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, it's going good. I'm so happy to be here. Oh, here's my grill in the background.
Awesome, real life, right?
Real life.
Real life, real
Yeah.
life. Oh, it's so cool to meet you.
Yeah, this is fun.
Yeah.
This is exciting.
Very exciting. So you and I are the two that contributed the most to the bundle.
Ooh, and we're talking about avoiding overwhelm.
Exactly, right? Here we are putting the absolute most possible into the bundle and overwhelming people with so much. But yeah, overwhelm. How would you say, like, let's get right into it. What did you contribute to the bundle?
What did I contribute to the bundle?
Yeah.
So this is how, and it relates to the topic, how I avoid overwhelm is I keep everything super simple. So I've contributed a super simple series, super simple vegan, super simple fast food copycat. So if you're kind of like a little dirty little vegan like me and like, and like Taco Bell, I've replicated it to be like oil free. So super simple fast food, super simple raw, it's not like your raw stuff, but we're not here to compare.
No.
Super simple raw, super simple plant-based Lebanese, super simple desserts, and super simple breakfast.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes. I know. I love that you contributed so many things too, because it's like each one has its own kind of theme. So if someone's looking, they don't have to go through the entire recipe book trying to find, certain ones, which is really beneficial for people who might feel overwhelmed. And yeah, I contributed the hand salads wrap book, the taco book, Make It Raw Volume 2, a live lunch, which is a 35-hour video course of my husband and I making raw food. Make It Raw, Make It Cooked that I filmed with Chef AJ. That was super fun. 2 months free access to my online meal planning app. And my husband contributed his Nice Creamy, or the Ninja Creamy Nice Cream ebook, and his Kitchen Essentials video course. So there's a lot of content. There's a lot of stuff for people to go through. And it's interesting because people don't necessarily realize how much they're getting until they buy the bundle, and they're like, whoa, right? They think they're getting a couple things, but they're getting 150 things. And what I realized this morning, very interesting, was the total retail value of the bundle is $8,049, but the bundle is $49. So you're actually saving $8,000.
What a savings. What a non-overwhelming amount of money to save in one transaction.
One transaction, you save $8,000. So, and then you're overwhelmed with the downloads. But so what would you tell people would be like when they first get the email with all the downloads? What should they do? What would you suggest?
Just jump and scream with excitement. No, I'm just just lose their mind because it's so exciting. But what I would suggest is like just take small bites. Like you don't have to look at. You have 1 year to download it. And if you download it that day and it all comes to you, like you have your whole life to look at it. So just pick something small. Like make one dessert, or make one breakfast item, or read one ebook, or read 2 pages of one ebook. Like there's no rules about it, just because we live in like such a culture of consumption. You don't have to buy into this consumption culture and consume everything once or you're like a failure. It's just do a little bit and go at your own pace.
And that's the same kind of idea when it comes to diet changes.
Yeah.
And it's like so many people, just even going vegan can be overwhelming for a lot of people.
Yes.
They're like, oh, I don't know, let alone raw.
Oh,
Because I
yeah.
get so many
Yep.
people who are like, oh, I don't know, they want to know everything all at once. But like you said, you can't know everything all at once, right? And, even to this day, I mean, I've been raw for now almost 10 years. And I
Wow.
still learn stuff every day, right? Like I'm still learning new things, and you're still learning new things, and Dr. McDougall is still learning new things, right? Like everyone's always learning new things, so we can't ever know everything. So just have like grace with yourself and just, yeah, like you said, one recipe at a time. And when I went raw, the thing that helped me the most was every single day I would wake up and I would say, today I'm choosing raw food. I didn't need to worry about tomorrow, worry about next week, or worry about being raw for a month or 10 years.
Right.
All I had to do was worry about today, because today's really the only day that matters anyways, right? And what we do today will determine our tomorrows.
And also, it could even be like a little bit smaller than that. It could be, this is my raw meal.
There you go.
Or this is my plant-based meal. This is my plant-based snack. Maybe you're used to eating ultra processed foods, and like there's no shame, right? There's no need to shame or judge yourself. It's just like, I choose to make a different choice, and this is the choice that I'm gonna make for this particular snack. And like, here we go. Like I'm surrounded by my snacks right here, and I was like, let me get a couple munches in before I go.
I've got mine too. I've got a strawberry banana smoothie here.
Yeah. Oh, I've been really enjoying the smoothies I'm a smoothie fanatic. And so I've been really enjoying the ebooks inside of the bundle that are like just pure smoothies, because I love to drink my meals. That's just how I am. I just like to drink my meals. And I like that there's so many, I don't know about so many, but there's a couple, which is enough, which is plenty of books in there that are strictly smoothies. And it's like perfect for the smoothies fanatic.
Exactly. I know. When I go through the bundle, because when I get it, I'm like, whoa, there's so much stuff. But then it's just like, okay, I need a breakfast. So you go in the bundle and you're like, smoothie book. Exactly, right? You go to the smoothie book and then you scroll through and you're like, that's when you get into your intuition where you're like, I'm kind of feeling berry-like today, or I'm kind of feeling mango-y today, or I feel like having some greens. And then you just scroll through and you choose your recipe, and that's all you need to focus on. Just make that and get it in. And you'd be surprised. Actually, I tried Kelly. Kelly has her ebook in the bundle, the smoothie book. I did her delicious chard one, and I was like, this is really good. Like I've put greens in my smoothies before, and I don't usually, but that one was so good.
You don't usually? Sorry, I had to just, this orange or this little clementine staring at me. It's like, hello, I'm over here. You don't usually put greens in your smoothie.
No,
you don't.
Actually, normally I don't. Sometimes we will. Like I would say probably like maybe not even like once a month we'll do greens.
Wow.
I know, because we just do like mainly bananas, dates, berries, mangoes, pineapple, just like fruity smoothies, because we eat so many greens throughout the day. So we're like, we like to have our like fruity smoothie in the morning, and then it's like salad, like massive. We're talking like
I've seen your salads. They're just beautiful, and the dressings are amazing in there.
Yeah. I know. I'm excited to try one of your raw recipes. I have it on my list of recipes to make. So
mine are like sweet treats. Mine are like this is like the pie that you want to bring to your Aunt Kathy's dinner. Like, bring this mango pie, it'll be good. Or like the brownies are pretty good. Thinking about the smoothies, like I think smoothies, I always put greens in my smoothies. And so just thinking about how like everybody can have their own flavor of plant-based nutrition or nutrition in general. Like you do the smoothies where you don't usually put a whole salad in your smoothie. I do the smoothies where I like to put like a whole salad in my smoothies. I'll put a carrot in there. I'll put sometimes a piece of tofu. I'm not raw. Is tofu raw? It's not raw.
No, it's
It is
not. But
not.
hey, it's
Okay.
vegan, right? So
So
it's
sometimes
good.
it's not often, but sometimes I'll just put a chunk of tofu in there. You know, I'll throw a carrot in there. I'll throw some celery in there. I will put a whole salad in my smoothie. And then I feel like, good work, Rachel. You ate so much green stuff today and you just drank it. And then you put cacao in there. So now your salad is a secret chocolate. Like,
I love it. I love it. And that's a great way to do it too. But yeah, like you said, like everyone has, their different ways of doing it. And that's why it's also like not one diet fits every person, right? Like
right.
some people like me, like fruity smoothies. You like the green smoothies. Some people like fruity salad dressings. Other people like, creamier dressings. And I mean, I like creamy dressings too, let's be honest. But,
I don't use any dressing ever.
Oh,
I
interesting.
just keep it raw. I just get wild with it. No dressing ever.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm like dressing crazy. I like my salads are almost like soups.
That's
Yeah,
delicious.
I load them up with the dressing. I love, but like the dressing is raw. It's got like actually I made so Broccoli Mom has her Indian cookbook, and I've been raving about this salad because like as a raw vegan, not all of the cooked books I use, right? But I do look through them because some stuff is like accidentally raw, like it's just naturally raw, and you're like, oh, I could totally have that.
Yeah.
So she had this one salad in there. It's the chana chat salad, and the dressing was raw. It had like apple, the spices. I think there was dates in it. I can't remember. But it was all raw, and I was like, I'm gonna make this salad. And the only thing that was cooked on it was the roasted chickpeas. So I just used sprouted chickpeas instead, which is whatever. But it was like, the dressing was so good. It was really cool to like try, different flavors from different people and experiment with some new varieties there.
Yeah. I love that. That is, I don't want to like say I have a favorite ebook in the bundle, although that's one of my top ones because I love Indian food.
Yeah.
And it's so often like if I were to go to an Indian restaurant, it's like full of oil, it's deep fried, it's drenched in coconut.
Yeah.
Listen to me. I listen to my attitude. I'm so like drenched in coconut. God, but it's just like not my choices. And so the fact that this ebook, and I'm going to be cooking a bunch of it on my live tomorrow on my Facebook. If anybody just doing a little drop, check out my Facebook. I'm going to be showing all these things, but I love the Indian flavors. I love how Broccoli Mom has created so many things that are like deep fried, but obviously they're not because they're in our bundle. They're not deep fried, they're at all. But they're like the deep fried fritters and the deep fried, but they're not. They're baked and they use chickpea flour. I just can't wait to eat them. And I was telling you in our text, I was like, oh, I've already eaten all my bundle food for the day. I'm like, do you have any food? Like, do you have any food to show? Like, I've already eaten it all. And that was some of it. Like, I just can't, it's tasty. And I don't make everything in the bundle. There's some things I don't eat. Like, I really don't eat copious amounts of oats or grains, or that's just not my jam. Everybody's different. But there's something in there for everybody.
Yeah.
There's like so much for everybody. It's super cool.
I know, and I also like some of the books too, or things that aren't even recipe related. Like one of the things that I'm most excited about was Mike the Vegan's Level 5 Vegan book, and he submitted it like literally the day before the bundle launched. So, but it's so
Don't tell
cool
Chef AJ.
right? It's so cool because it's like, it's not a guide on how to go vegan, because there's lots of those out there, right? But it's a guide on how to stay vegan. So yeah, I'm really excited to dig into that. I kind of started reading a little bit of it last night, but I was so tired. I totally passed out from like running the bundle is a lot of work. But I do
Yes.
have food. So this here is the everything but the bagel wrap that I'm going to be wrapping in about 2 hours live on my Instagram. But this is the wrap, and we just added blue spirulina to make it blue.
What do these taste like? Tell us a little bit what they taste like.
So these are incredible. They are like, if you like onion bread, you will be obsessed with these. They are so good. And this is the caramelized onion one. I just put dried onion flakes and red pepper flakes on it for decoration. But check this out. So it's kind of like a flatbread.
Wow. Yep.
And it's pliable, but it's made with fruits and vegetables. Like it's completely grain free, and it kind of has it's really hard to describe, but if I had to pick the closest thing, it would be like if you had a more dense pita that was oniony, like an onion pita bread that's really dense. And yeah, like they're just so cool. And you can just wrap them up. Like you can wrap so many things in there. You can use like a cashew cream cheese on the base, or any sauce you want. You can load it up with vegetables. You could like if you eat the cooked food, you can put tofu in there. Chef AJ likes to put her yams inside. Like she'll put her yams in there and roll it up, and she has them for lunch. And you get the wrap book in the bundle. So people go grab the bundle. Link is in either of our bios.
And full of fiber, full of,
yes.
And what I love is, and I will say, yeah, link is in both of our bios. Get the bundle. I feel like the bundle is like, I love your hand salads book. I love every time, and like, folks, if you haven't seen the reels about the hand salads, you gotta watch. And then the dressing drizzle, it's all about the dressing drizzle.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I can't wait to eat one of those. I can't wait to give one of those a try. Yeah. So beautiful.
Someone's asking how many calories per sheet. It really depends on the recipe. But these are like, they're big. Look how big that is. So one of these, usually like we stuff it, and it really depends on how much you put inside. But this one right here, if I had to guess, is probably, this entire thing is like maybe 500 calories just in the sheet alone. But it's low fat, and it's fruit and vegetables. And so, you're getting
nutrient dense.
Yeah. So yeah, nutrient dense. So, when I make one of the wraps, like, one of these makes one big wrap, and I cut it in half. I usually only eat half the wrap because it's so filling. Like, it's really hard to eat the other one as well. So, you can base it on that, but it's cool because it, like, on a raw diet, it's really hard to get enough calories in, because you have to eat a crazy amount of food. So the wraps really help because, like, they're easy, they're portable. You can take them to work. We take them hiking and camping and traveling. Like, Nate will fly in the airplane to Oregon. He takes like 12 wraps with him on the airplane. And, like, they're easy to travel with, and they're easy to prepare in advance. Like this one here, these ones I made last night on my live. And these ones, and they're still super pliable. Just leave them on the counter in the tray until you're ready to use them. These ones I made like 4 or 5 days ago.
How long do they last?
Well, it depends. Like, if they're fully dry, and you can tell when they're fully dry by pushing in the middle. If there's like any dimpling, they're not fully dry. But when they're fully dry, they can last like 1 to 2 weeks. But if there's any moisture in the center, or in your, like, if the humidity level is high, or you have them in the dehydrator with the door closed and there's kind of like moisture in there or whatever, then they can mold, because, moisture equals mold.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, 1 to 2 weeks on the tray, we've had them last that long. Obviously, they're better fresh, because the longer you let them sit, the crustier they get on the edges. Like
my brain is already like, so I'm an entrepreneur, and my brain is already thinking like, wow, you should totally trademark those and sell them in a package, and like people like, and sell them to the world. Like, what an amazing.
We talked about it. I mean, if the opportunity arises, obviously we're going to take that. But, like,
so cool.
I'm like, we need like 80 dehydrators going, right? Because they take 12 hours. So what I do is the night before, like at around like 6-ish or so, like dinner time around there, I will make a batch, and one batch makes 2 big wraps if you use these trays, or 3 of the smaller ones. I do it at 6 o'clock at night, and then at 6 o'clock in the morning, they're ready, and I can just wake up, peel them off, fill them up, and you've got lunch.
Is this something that could ever be made in an oven, or is a dehydrator the way to go?
Yeah, you have to use a dehydrator. There's actually really interesting. When one time we were making a batch, and I put some trays on top of the dehydrator, and I think the trays hit the temperature dial and moved the temperature up because it was set to 145 Fahrenheit. And we didn't realize that until the next day. We go in and we pull them out, and they were like crackers. They were like rock hard. They were really hard to peel off the tray. And then we were like, what happened? And when we looked at the dial, it was accidentally set higher than the 115. So any temperature above 115, you risk getting like they're like crackers, really. Like I could peel one off, but it was really hard to get it off the sheet. And then once I got it off the sheet, it was like rock hard after like 10
Okay. Did you eat them? Now that's the real question. Did you still eat them?
I didn't eat them. I think Nate tried one, but they tasted kind of like burnt. I don't know how the word will, like, because it's onion, and I don't know if they tasted like more like caramelized, but they kind of tasted a little bit burnt. So we didn't end up using them, unfortunately. But it was a good test, kind of experiment to see, like, could you use hotter temperatures? Could you use an oven? But I think the secret is in the temperature as well, because then it dries it slower and it becomes more pliable. But yeah, most ovens don't go lower than 170, and that's like way too high.
And I'm gonna link this like topic back to what just your story back to our topic about avoiding overwhelm. And a part of it too is like when situations like that happen, like you spend time creating something and then it's like, oh my goodness, it's not what I wanted it to be. And then there's all, people, whoever's involved could make the decision, like, am I going to get upset? I probably would just eat it, even though it tastes burnt. I'd be like, what can I put on this? Like, can I put some cacao on this? Can I dip this in something? But you can make a decision, like, am I going to get overwhelmed? Am I going to feel bad about myself? Am I going to, be angry? Am I going to not eat anything? So now I'm hangry because I messed this up and I'm just, or you could be like, ha, ha, ha. Hee hee hee. That's so funny. I hit the knob. I ruined this. I made all this awesomeness and I messed it up. How funny. And then you could go into the bundle, link in both of our bios, buy it. It's a really good thing to do. You could go back in the bundle and be like, oh, I'm just going to do this again. This recipe didn't work out for me this time. And so maybe I'm going to try Rachel Detroit's recipe instead.
Right?
Raw food romance, it was just a little bit too much for me. So I'm going to just choose a super simple, a super simple pancake recipe instead. And it takes 4 minutes. It's a banana and a cup of oats and some milk, and then, not mine, I just made this up in my head. I don't know.
I'm like, that sounds pretty good.
It probably could be mine. Like, look, I just be like a little, plant-based wizard here. I just make it up, like a cup of this, and so that's kind of like the whole thing about avoiding overwhelm is like, you could make the decision to beat yourself up that you hit the knob and you accidentally burnt the brownies, or this vegan thing tastes weird and like, oh, I don't need to be vegan anymore. I suck at being plant-based. This isn't working for me. And then just like, or you could just like laugh and remember that like, oh, I'm not going to be good at something the first time I do it. Maybe not the second time or the third time or the fourth time. And that's like, Rachel Detroit coaching, the coaching that I do, that's like something that I really work to enforce in people. It's like the first time, you're probably not going to be that good. The second time, you probably still won't be that good. And like the 12th time, like you're probably going to be pretty good. Like it'll be great. It's going to be fun, you know?
Mm-hmm. I know,
So,
I tell that to people when they're making my wraps too. Like I get so many people make the wraps and then they tag me in it, and then they always apologize and they're like, sorry, my wrapping skills aren't that great, or mine don't look like yours. And I'm like, but you made them. That's the whole point, right? Like, yeah, like you said, you might not be a super pro the first or even second or 12th time, but the more you do it, the more you make them, the more you practice, just like anything in life, you get better at it. And I love, there's this one saying I heard a long time ago. They don't call it a yoga perfect because it's a yoga practice. You always you just practice and practice and practice and practice, and there is no perfect, right? Because you're constantly improving over and over and over again. The more you repeat something, the better you get at it.
and that's all of our life. And we get to choose the perspective. Do we want life to be a practice where it's like fun and playful and joyful and we get to experiment and see, and then like also have painful experiences that suck. And then it's like, oh, well, that's okay. That's just life. Or it could be like this, oh, I'm not perfect and I'm the worst, and just like a chip on your shoulder. It's like it's like those Goosebump books. Choose your story. Yeah. What would you like? It's really all in our hands, you know?
Mm-hmm. And when people fall off, really, instead of shaming or guilting or feeling bad, to take it as a learning opportunity for how to do things differently next time. Like if you were, I don't know, say you're running all these errands and you're out, like way past the time that you should be eating, and you're hungry and you don't know what to do, and you go through the drive-through or whatever, and then you eat this thing. Instead of feeling guilty and hating on yourself, ask yourself, next time I go out for errands, what could I take with me to avoid that, right? Yeah, like take some fruit in your vehicle just so you have something. But you need they're kind of like life lessons. You need to go through them sometimes to learn how to do things differently and to not kick yourself for those mistakes. Like people call them mistakes, I call them learning opportunities.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If I could go through my life and say, oh, mistake, 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 like I'd be here for 10 years. I'd be here for 35 years.
Me too.
Like it's all a game. It's all a big act.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We can choose how we want to go about our day, and we get to choose. That's the cool thing, right? We can choose, and we have, like some people might not have, the ability to choose exactly what we would choose, but there's always a choice. And there's a great book by Claire Mann, and it's called Myths of Choice. And it talks about the myth that we feel like we don't have a choice. Like, when people are like, well, I can't do that, or right. I can't quit my job, right? And it's like, well, you can, but you don't want to, because there's so many implications involved, right, in doing that choice. So even though we think we can't do it, we actually are already choosing by saying we can't, right? Mm-hmm. Right. It's a really good book.
Yeah, that sounds lovely. That's kind of what I do when I coach people. I'm like, you can do anything that you decide that you want. It's like literally up to you. Mm-hmm. You say you can't do it, good choice. Actually, not a good choice, but who's calling you out? Actually, I do. I actually call them out. I let them know.
Nice. So, right. Or like using the word can't as well. Like instead, I like say, well, people will come to me and they'll be like, oh, you can't have this because it's cooked with animals or whatever. And I'm like, well, I can, but I choose not to.
I hate when people say that to me. It's like, they're like, oh, they'll eat something that's like, I actually would never want to eat that. I would literally never want to eat that in my life. And they'll say, oh, you can't have that. And I'm like, I actually don't want that. I actually like, and then then I think like, oh, is my nose like is my nose too high? But it's like, I actually can have that. I actually would just never choose to to have that.
Exactly.
And that's like my choice. And that's your choice. Like, I can have that. I don't want that. So thank you so much for letting me know what I can have.
Totally, right? And that's something that like people can use to their advantage, like when they are faced with something and they hear their own internal voice saying like, oh, I can't have that. I can't have that. Right?
Yeah.
Like when you're focused on that. Yeah.
And I always say, don't focus so much. Like when I work with clients, you know, I'll say like, don't focus so much on all this stuff you have to let go of, because oftentimes people will want to work with me as they transition into a plant-based diet. And they're like, well, you know, I can't. And it's like, this is cool. Like, it's a slow roll. We're doing a slow roll here. This is a big deal. It's a slow roll. Like, you can still have that. And then what can we add? What can we add? And then as you continue to add more of like what you desire, which is a lot of people desire a plant-based diet. So you slowly start adding more, then the other stuff falls away naturally. So it's all about what can we do and where is there space? We make space, allow it, and then the other stuff just kind of goes away.
I know, I love that perspective too. Oh, and using procrastination to our advantage, because a lot of people will, you know, they get scared with the idea of never eating, say, potato chips again or whatever.
Right.
Like they're like, oh, you know, and some people actually have like an actual fear because they can never have potato chips again. So what I say is like, instead of saying, you know, never, say one day. Right? And when you put it off to like the future, it kind of releases that expectation that it will be never, because one day could be never, right? Because when you're focusing one day at a time, you don't have to worry about never or forever or always, and you know, those absolute statements. You can come back to the present and be like, I'll have it some other time, whatever. But today I'm focusing on what my goals are.
What these current desires are, you know, and it's like, maybe one day you do eat the chips and then that's okay too. Like, you're not a sinner. I mean, whatever, you're not a piece of junk. You're not a terrible human being if you know, have a potato chip after like it's totally okay. It's fine.
Exactly. And it's really interesting how our society has been so indoctrinated to feel bad about ourselves as people for choosing something. Like, it's just a choice. That's really all it is. And we are the ones that put negative or positive feelings towards it, right? And it's like, you know, it doesn't affect who you are as a human being, but you recognize how it feels in your body, and then you just make different choices in the future.
Right. Yeah, we create it all in our head.
Yeah, one question I wanted to ask you, someone asked in the chat, it can feel overwhelming with all the conflicting information. What do you tell people when they are, you know, confused with all kinds of information?
Oh, the first thing that I like to share is like, you know, Instagram, and I'm an Instagram content creator too. So don't think that I'm like bashing the Insta. There's a lot of like people who just put out information on Instagram that are like, you know, just like saying what their opinions are. I love research. So I want to see some peer-reviewed journals. And the truth about a plant-based diet is like, it doesn't have to be overcomplicated. So the person who's saying that, like the human who's like, well, you actually have to wash your apple with hot water only. I'm just making it up. With hot water only, and then slice it this way and add cinnamon while the sun is over there so that it can reduce the inflammation in your body while you're standing on your pinky toe, and then put celery in your ear. It's like, what? Like, if it's extremely complex, that's too much. And that's when it becomes really complex, and like there are some serious measures for serious diagnosis. Although the whole food plant-based diet, the raw diet, it's quite simple, right? There's like these guidelines. If it's raw, there's like you know, like we don't cook it. There's certain temperature, you know, things, and it's not like so complex. And then if it's a whole food plant-based diet, it's like, these are the whole foods. They're unprocessed. They're really close to nature. It's like, it's not a balancing act. And then we get into this, like, we live in this culture where like everyone's an expert, and that's okay. Like, cool, I think I'm an expert too. I'm like this coach guru about like spirituality and thoughts and feelings and plant-based nutrition and personal, like, cool, me too. Like, I love it. I'm Rachel Detroit coaching. Like, that's what I do. But so the conflicting information is like, go to the studies, go to the research. What is like been peer review, what has a growing and overwhelming body of evidence, which is whole food plant-based nutrition. Even if you, and don't kill me vegans, even if you eat a little bit of animal product sometimes, but overall you're eating all this wonderful, beautiful plant food, like that, the research is there. More plants, more vegetables, more plants, more vegetables.
More plants.
Good for you.
Yep, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And another thing that I'd like to add on to that is to be aware of absolute statements, because that, for me, is a big red flag, because the science is more, like you said, it's like the overwhelming evidence, right?
Yes.
So we take what we've learned and we say, well, this and this and this and this are correlated with this and this and this. So it looks to us that this is the best course of action, you know, more plants, more fruits, more vegetables, more, you know, more sprouts, all, you know, all that kind of stuff. But when people start using absolute statements like never get sick again, or all cooked food is poison, or, you know, like you have to do it this way or you will never heal, or cure all diseases, right? When people start using absolute statements, I've seen a lot of this too, like everyone experiences this, or
Right.
nobody, or you know, like there's no nutrition when you cook your food. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you cannot use absolute statements. The only absolute statement that I agree with is that there's no fiber in animal products. Right? Because there isn't. There isn't. But when people start to use absolute statements, that's when it's a red flag for me. And I really question, and I'm like, okay, wait. They're saying that if I do this, I'll never get sick again. You know, these overwhelming claims and absolutes and guarantees, like you'll heal your disease if you do this.
Right.
Like, yeah, red flags. That's when it's time to dive into the research further.
Right. I want to respect our time,
yeah.
and I have a little something to add to that, if that's okay.
Yes.
Okay, as someone who's been diagnosed, like, so I have an MS diagnosis. So I received, and when I first received it, my brain became very absolute. I was like, I went raw right off the bat. I was like, I don't know, like I everything, you know, I just juiced. Actually, that's, I don't know, raw, is juicing raw?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just went, all I did was
in the raw umbrella. Yeah.
I just drank juice all day. I just had no idea. I was losing my mind. I was a standard American diet girl. I was eating meat and fast food and junk and garbage. And then I was like, oh my God, they told me I have MS. I'm going to die. My life is over. Everything sucks. And then I just juiced, and all I did was eat juice and like vegetables, and that's it. And then, you know, it was really restrictive and really absolute. And I was like, well, this is how I'm going to survive. And then I realized, like, okay, that's not true. And then I started seeing other diets, like MS specific diets, and I'm not judging them at all. Like, I think that folks need to follow their body and what feels right. But then, you know, and I really believe that if I ate this specific way, that I was going to heal MS in my body. And then I ate this specific way. And then I had a flare up. And so it shows that, like, these ideas of these, and because it wasn't congruent with what my body needed. And now that I listen to what is best for me, so I take in all the research. I hear, like, you need an increase of omegas. You need to increase your resistance starch. Like, there's research that backs this up. So I take all of these things, I take all the information, and I live very well with a diagnosis. Right. So it's like, a lot of times these really extreme absolutes that you know, there's one MS diet that's like, drink cans of coconut milk. And that's like, and to be honest, I did it for a little bit. I was like, all right, I'm going to drink the coconut milk, like whatever, you know, like I'll do whatever. But then I learned, like, not everything is so, like, you know, like, life is flexible.
Yeah.
Life is about, like do your research and then use your experiences, use your research, and then be flexible and play around with it. I don't like the absolutes either.
Yeah, neither do I. I'm just like, that's one of the things that I can't stand. Like, even though I choose only raw, I choose it because that's what I want, right? Like we said, like we choose what we desire, what we want, what we feel best eating. But it's like, you know, claiming that it's like this immortality thing, or you're gonna, you know, like, you know, people are going to have beneficial experiences when they eat more raw food, regardless if it's all raw or high raw or mostly raw or whatever, right? Or like with the vegan stuff, right? Like, I mean, obviously veganism is an ethical thing, but we'll say plant-based. Like, you know, the more plant-based foods that you're eating, the more you're gonna feel better in your body. But again, it's not a guarantee for absolutely every single thing.
Right.
It's more likely that you'll feel better, and some people do reverse things, and I think people use those stories to sell their idea.
Right.
And stories are great, right? I mean, like, you and I tell our stories, and that's what happened with us, and we're just trying to inspire people to adventure out from their comfort zone of diet, and from, you know, the processed foods and the junk stuff and everything. Like, adventure into something different and see what happens to your body, right? We're not guaranteeing. I mean, it could reverse what you have, but most likely it's better than what you're doing now. So
like an increase of fruits and vegetables and whole foods. And, you know, if any, like, there's no, what am I trying to say? An increase of plants and whole foods and fruits and vegetables can never be harmful, really, overall. Well, I don't want to do an absolute that.
Yeah, right.
Because, you know, like,
it's a good idea.
Gonna be overall, like, it's good for you. Like, no one's ever said don't eat your vegetables, skip your vegetables and eat a stick of butter. Nobody says that. It's not real. Like, I mean, well, actually, some people do say that.
Some people do
like,
say that. All right, some people do believe that.
Say that. They're like, just eat the butter, eat the stick of butter in the lard, and that's what works for them. I don't know. It doesn't work for me.
It might only work short term, though. That's another thing to keep in mind too. Is like, some people, when they experience, like, they're like, oh, I feel amazing doing this.
Yeah.
Like, whatever it is they're doing, and then they pump it as it's like, this is the holy grail. This is the be all end all of everything. And then, you know, months, years go by, and they're noticing maybe deficiencies or things are changing in their body, and they're like, this isn't really, you know, the what I thought it was. But, you know, they already did the damage by promoting it so hard, saying it was the be all end all of everything. So it's like, it's really, you really gotta, like, be discerning. Gotta learn how to be discerning in this world.
Yeah.
But thank you, Rachel. It was so awesome to have this conversation together. And thank you for joining the bundle. So great that you're in it. And thank you for all your contributions. You have so many great stuff added to the bundle. So if anybody wants to buy the bundle, you can buy the bundle from either of the links in our bios. You just go up to the top of the screen here, click on our names, and you can go to either of our bios and go get the bundle, because it's $8,000 off retail.
Do it.
It's only $49. You get $8,049 worth of content. And yeah, it's so worth it, but it's only here until March 10th. And then it disappears. And we'll be back next year, but it'll be a completely different bundle with completely different stuff. So you're going to want to go check this one out if you want the stuff in there. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. My pleasure. It was such a pleasure to do this.
Yeah, it really was. And have fun with all your other demo lives and enjoy all the food from the bundle. It's going to be fun.
Thank you so much, Melissa, and I will talk to you soon.
All right. Ciao, everybody. Thanks for joining.
Bye.
Bye.